All right, everyone, we are back. Oh, wow, balloons. I didn't even plan
Wow,
that.
party. It's a
But
celebration.
yeah, but I managed to go to the gym and go to P. Terry's, and now I am back in the driver's seat here because we are still in the blackout period, the
hmm
blackout of communications lasting about 40 minutes, and we should be leaving that period somewhat shortly. So we thought we'd hop back on, and yes, the flyby is still going on. So
It is. And the period since we were last on, they've done a lot of really great imagery, discussion, geological formations, and communication back to NASA with some of the scientists there. And it seems like everybody was having just a blast, not only getting the science, but just looking at everything. And I liked Victor Glover. His his descriptions were really, really good. And one of the things that he kind of fixated the most and was talking the most about was the terminus between light and dark, and the, I don't know, the quality, the relief to the terrain, just the texture that he could see because of the dark and the shadows and the light, and just how it really brought that out. And it was just really fascinating to listen to them. And the other thing, besides going behind the moon and losing communications for this blackout period, is
can I say it?
they,
Can I say it? Is it
yes,
the toilet?
no, well, kind of. Uh, they, they're not. They're asking them not to use the toilet, or at least limiting how much is in the toilet right now, so that they don't have to, you know, put overboard some of the material, and that would, of course, affect the imagery. So they're using the backup solution if they need to during this period of time while they're close to the moon, trying to get as clear images as they possibly can.
Gotcha. Okay, so but is it broken again?
No, no, they just asked them not to use it, because if they use it, then it fills up the tanks, and when they get to a certain amount, they need to push it overboard so that they can, empty out the tanks. But when you do
God.
that, you kind of make, what do they call it? The constellation urine. And you get a lot of really great shots of that.
Oh, okay. I was misunderstanding. I thought that it was actually broken like a
No,
third time. Good.
no.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you, by the way, Aaron, for the super sticker right off the bat. Yes, we are back at it because this is still going on, and it's pretty exciting. I'm excited to hear from them after their, not too long of a blackout period, but I wonder what
Right.
they're doing right now.
I don't know. Well, one thing is that they did do, or they achieved, is that they got to their closest point to the moon, and now they're actually slightly getting farther from the moon. So they've done that, and they also set a record. Jared Isaacman just posted that they officially went 252,756 miles away from the Earth. That's 438,958 kilometers away, and that not only breaks the Apollo 13 record, but now it sets a new record. And hopefully that won't last very long. Hopefully we'll send people farther.
Right, absolutely. Wow. And so we're expecting to hear from them when exactly? Because I
In
think that they
about
said
3 or 4 minutes.
3 or 4 minutes. Wow. Okay. Great.
Yeah, and then we'll find out a little bit what they were doing. I mean, it's kind of well, I mean, just think about it. It's you, your three crew members, your ship, and the moon, and nothing. There, you have lost complete contact with the people on the Earth for about 40 minutes at a time. So just imagine reflecting on that while you're out there.
They were playing Truth or Dare.
Maybe
I'm
that's
just
what they're doing.
They're playing moon pong. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, they did right before they lost communications. It's still a low resolution, but they got some really amazing shots of a crescent moon with the crescent Earth
Right.
just coming, almost touching the moon.
Mm.
And I really want to see the high resolution images of that once we're able to get them.
And then my understanding is that their coverage will wrap up shortly before 10 o'clock Eastern time. Is that right?
9:45 Eastern time, 8:45 our time. Between now and then, they're going to continue to be doing, imagery of the flyby, and there's a eclipse period coming up at 7:35 Central Time, 8:35 Central Eastern Time. That'll last for about 50 minutes or so, and they're going to do some imagery and science with the sun being eclipsed, so they can see the corona, and they'll probably see some features of the moon at that time too, with the corona kind of backlighting it.
Wow.
And then somewhere after that, they're going to get another Earthrise as it pops out on the other side of the moon. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. Very similar to what's on my screen here, like that.
Oh, yeah. Here's a good question. Thank you for the super chat from DJB7490. Are they looking at having communication or Starlink satellites for continuous communication? So, do you know? In order to avoid the blackout, I suppose.
Yes. Well, part of the Artemis program, with the reset of the Artemis program and the objectives of having a lunar base and some of the other things that was talked about in the ignition event, there have been some requests for proposals out for orbiting communication satellites, and that is part of that process. I would also expect, since part of the Artemis program is for Starship to go to the moon and do a demonstration landing, why not take some Starlinks or something modified to Starlinks and pop them out as well? I would not surprise me if SpaceX does that, because not only will it help with our communication and some of the images, which are starting to, looks like, pop back up again, maybe, but it will also help with the operations on the ground, the landing, the navigation while they're, on the ground, traveling from one place to the other. So it's really important. So hopefully we'll get that, and it will really improve the amount of communications data transfer that we get right now.
Well, it would just be great too to have, like, I mean, I know that the distance, is an issue, but some people were saying having the cameras on the solar arrays maybe just wasn't great. I mean, there's got to be a way to make the image quality better for the live stream, right?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with distance, and a lot of it has to do with the bandwidth that you can push through the existing systems that we have. So when they do upgrade the systems and they get some orbiting communication satellites, that will improve it a lot. It'll also be something that it needs to be maintained, because depending on where they put the satellites in the orbit, they're going to have to expend propellant over time to keep them in the right orbit. So that's going to be something that they're going to have to continue to replace now, as we set up the operations on the moon.
And I want to shout out some super chats. Thank you to Ralph Buttigieg. One time, actually, fun fact, when I was working at a TV news station in Salt Lake City, Utah, it was during COVID, and I actually had COVID, so I had to do a virtual interview with Pete Buttigieg.
Oh yeah.
And I was in my PJs.
Oh man.
From the bottom. From the top, I looked business.
Oh.
From the bottom, I was not, and I think that's kind of hilarious. But thank you. You have the same last name, so I don't know if you're related, but you reminded me of my Pete Buttigieg lore. And thank you to Bill again for another very generous super chat. Wow, twice in one day. Fascinating facts and wild ass guesses. Thanks, Ellie and Joe. We are doing our best. And
so hopefully my guesses are closer to reality than most.
Oh, for sure.
By the way, what we're seeing on the screen is first images of that crescent Earth in the distance, and the moon is in shadow, so we can't see it.
That's us?
Yeah, all of us, everybody here, everything going on today, everything that ever has happened is right there.
You hear that, Pinocchio? That's you.
Yeah.
It's you. What do you think, buddy? He's like, I don't even know what's going on. Let's see if they're saying anything.
Okay.
So far I hear nothing. I had them muted, so maybe when they start talking, I'll turn it down.
Okay.
But yeah, wow. I mean, I'm excited to hear their voices, and what a view. Wow. It's just really mind-blowing. It's actually feel like pretty hard to wrap your mind around that, like, that's everything we've ever done, like right there.
Everything that represents our hopes or fears, the things that we fight about, the things that we care about, it's right. That's it. And the rest is the universe.
All 4 astronauts now back on the other side of the moon and in contact with us on Earth.
Woo!
Their
Yay.
tasks for lunar flyby did not stop as they went behind the moon and out of contact with us. We anticipate during that time they were attempting to image some impact flashes, short lived flashes on the lunar surface, which would be caused by impact bombardment and potentially even lofted lunar dust. Right now, of course, they are getting pictures of Earthrise.
Wow.
After this target, they will get a short observation break. It's about an hour long, actually.
Houston, integrity, comm check.
Woo!
Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Well,
Tell me.
Not for us. You guys need to turn the volume up.
Right.
Houston, we have you the same, and it is so great to hear from Earth again. To Asia, Africa, and Oceania, we are looking back at you. We hear you can look up and see the moon right now. We see you too. When we burned this burn towards the moon, I said that we do not leave Earth, but we choose it. And that is true. We will explore, we will build, we will build ships, we will visit again. We will construct science outposts, we will drive rovers, we will do radio astronomy, we will found companies, we will bolster industry, we will inspire. But ultimately, we will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other.
Integrity from Earth, our single system, fragile and interconnected. We copy. Those of us that can are looking back.
Unfortunately, we in Texas are facing the wrong way.
I was going to say this might be a dumb question, but
we are happy to say we copy.
Was any telescope, like, someone from the ground able to capture anything during this flyby from Earth?
It may be very, very hard on the flyby. Part of it is because the size of the Orion capsule relative to the moon is like extremely, extremely small. And the moon's pretty bright from our standpoint. So that would probably wash it out. I know that when it was transiting the distance between the Earth and the moon, there were some telescopes that were able to pick it up. And it looked like, just imagine a black sky with stars, and you see a little tiny dot moving.
Christina Cook calling back to what she said just before translunar injection burn, that with this burn, we do not leave Earth, we choose it. The translunar injection burn served as not only what put them on this trajectory to fly around the moon, but what also committed them to splashing down in the Pacific Ocean on flight day 10.
They're committed.
Yeah, well, they were as soon as they did the TLI.
Yeah, there's only one way off, and it's back down and in the water.
Yeah, well, they're finishing up their flyby of the moon, but
entering an observation break. We expect this to last about an hour, and it's probably a welcomed break following their very, very busy day taking pictures, making annotations, making audio recordings, and communicating all of the wonderful things that they are seeing on the moon. This observation break is also partially due to the fact that we will be entering an eclipse later. This will be the first solar eclipse that humans have seen from the moon. The astronauts will need to wear eclipse glasses for the first 2 minutes until the sun is completely covered by the moon. And then they have additional targets that the science team is hoping that they will photograph. We will have communications with them during that eclipse time frame.
Gotcha.
That'd be kind of neat.
Okay.
Because of that eclipse, Orion's attitude must be changed right now so that its solar arrays are in the sun. This will help it charge the batteries needed to power it through that eclipse time frame.
That's sort of
this view on the screen is a visualization. The spacecraft now 4,224 miles away from the moon, and that number will now continue to grow, while the number of distance from Earth, 252,699 miles, will continue to shrink all the way until our crew is back home.
Yeah, it'll pick up speed. It's now kind of rolling downhill to Earth the rest of the time.
Wow.
But I was saying they have to move it so they can get the solar panels into the sun, and they need to do that to prepare for the time when the sun is eclipsed. And that's sort of what the lunar bases are going to have to deal with. Is they're going to have periods of time where they have no solar power. So that's one of the reasons why they're talking about putting a nuclear reactor onto the moon to support the base, is because solar may not be available for extended periods of time.
Well, I want to share the clip that you sent me earlier. Now that we just have a little break, we might as well, show the visualization of these gravity wells, right? So I'm going to share this so you can explain it.
Okay, well, this is I think it'll loop around, but what we're seeing is the green track is the Orion capsule coming from the Earth, going around the moon and going back. The yellow track is the moon itself. So what we're trying to show is the strength of gravity onto the Orion from the Earth or from the moon based on its distance from each of those bodies. So when it comes back to the Earth, what we're going to see is that blue arrow getting bigger and bigger and bigger because the gravity of Earth is getting stronger because we're getting closer. And when you move away, it reduces the strength of gravity by 1 over the radius squared. So here we see the yellow getting bigger and the blue getting smaller because the moon took over. We were within that sphere of influence, and the moon had stronger gravity than the Earth. And you could see that by the size of the arrows. So as we're moving out here, the blue arrow is getting shorter and shorter. You'll start seeing the yellow arrow getting bigger and bigger. And now it's more powerful than the Earth. It moved Orion around. Now the moon's gone away, and then it's falling back to the Earth, and the gravity is getting bigger. And that's kind of trying to visualize how orbital mechanics works when you're going from one body, in this case, the Earth, and then you get close into the vicinity of another body, in this case, the moon.
And just for fun, in case people weren't here earlier, here's the other one that we were talking about, just because I think they're interesting.
Right. So this one doesn't show the gravity, but it just shows you what's happening with Orion. And it's on orbit with the Earth. Now the moon's starting to take over, and it bends Orion around the moon. Now the Earth is more powerful, and it's just pulling it right back to the Earth. So they're almost free falling directly to the Earth.
Wow.
And earlier we talked about like a rock. If you threw a rock in the air, it goes up, it slows down, it stops and falls back down. That's kind of what Orion's doing.
And so is it any faster on the way home, or is it about the same commute there and back?
Well, when you start from the Earth and head to the moon, you're going really, really fast, and you slow down all the way out to the moon. And when you go from the moon back, you're starting off really, really slow, and then you speed up to the moon, to the Earth. Generally speaking, the speeds at the endpoints, the apogee and the perigee, will be roughly the same. So the amount of time will be the same. It's just instead of slowing down on the way to the moon like we saw this time, it's going to be speeding up as we get to the moon, to the Earth, and it's the distance is going to rapidly decrease as we get closer and closer to the Earth.
I like the commute to the moon better than the commute to Mars.
Yeah, it's about what is it, 100? No, yeah, about 100 times shorter as far as the time.
That is crazy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And just imagine when we were talking here, when they did the translunar injection, they were kind of committed to going away from the Earth, doing the moon thing and coming back. And that was going to take them about 9 days or so total. When you do this with the moon, with Mars, you're now committing yourself to at least a couple of years.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not like you can decide, let's go home.
Well, I should say we're getting a common thank you for these visualizations. They're amazing. Thank you, Joe, for finding them, because they are helpful, actually.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of visualize what orbital mechanics is doing. So stuff like this really helps.
Yeah, no, it helps me. This is your forte. This is not my forte. Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so crazy. I mean, we're about halfway done, a little more than halfway done with the mission.
It's slightly more than halfway done now. I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but it's probably like 52%, 53%. The rest of it is just falling back to Earth, and then hoping we get a good re-entry, work our way through the atmosphere, and then splash down in the Pacific Ocean just off the coast of, I think, San Diego. And,
how how do you think that they feel like right now? Like as far as like, do you think that they feel pretty similar to how they would feel if they were on the ISS, like bodily sensations or, you
Oh.
know, you know what I mean?
I think that they're acclimated to the weightless environment. They probably got acclimated after the first day or so.
Yeah.
As far as feeling like, are they feeling any G's or are they feeling anything, accelerations or whatever? Probably not. You're essentially, one of the things about orbital mechanics is you're really free falling the entire time, and because you and the ship are free falling, and in this case they're not using any thrusters, you just stay the same relative position within the ship, so you don't really perceive anything at all. So I don't think it. I mean, the visuals are different, but as far as just how their body feels, I think it's just the same.
What's your shirt? Reoccupy the moon?
Yes. Instead of, it used to be occupy the Mars, but now that we are going to the moon first, now we're reoccupying it. So.
Now that we're pivoting.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So what is going on now? Oh, we're just back to the visualization.
Yeah, they're in that little break period, I guess.
There we go.
There was one other thing I sent you. I don't know if we want to talk about it, but it's the picture of the Apollo landing sites. I sent it to you on text.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it on. The problem is that pictures are harder to load on this.
Oh, sorry.
StreamYard thing. Let's see. Do you know where you got that?
I think it was from NASA, but I can't remember for sure.
Okay. Let me see if I can get it up there. Also, do you know, someone is saying, did the names on the SD card on board Orion get any mention at all during the journey? I didn't hear about it. I also didn't do it just because I guess you could have sent your name around the moon, but then when I found out it was an SD card, I guess it makes sense, but it's kind of like,
yeah.
Is it that
did.
cool? I know you
did.
I know you did, but did they mention it?
Well, they mentioned it before launch. They showed the crew loading it into their zero-G indicator, and they talked about that. My guess is that they're going to talk about that on the way back, since they have 3 or 4 days. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to bring that up. But it is good. I think it was like 3.5 million people's names were on that got a chance to say, at least a small part of you got a chance to go around the moon.
Yeah, I saw it was closer to like 5 million, so I don't know. By the way, I guess StreamYard updated things, and now you can just directly upload an image file, which is a great fix, because you used to literally have to make like a slideshow every time, and it was so annoying. I don't do the Google slide stuff, so
yeah.
Thank you, StreamYard, for fixing this problem. Here we go.
Always progress.
Here's what.
No, sorry. The reason why I'm showing this is that I've had a lot of people ask, were they able to see the Apollo landing sites? And one of their objectives was to try to see Apollo 12 and 14. And the reason why is this is the moon that we see from the northern hemisphere from Earth, and you can see the mares, which is the lava flows, the basaltic regions, the darker regions, and the numbers show the Apollo missions. Well, from our perspective, the Orion mission was moving off to the left-hand side of the screen and going around the moon. So they couldn't see 15, 17, 11, or 16. That was too far away on the horizon. But they did get really close to 12 and 14. So that was something that they were attempting to image. How well that came out, I don't know, because I think at that time they were about 8,000 miles away from the surface. So it would have been really, really small. But yeah, they proceeded across the left-hand side of the screen around the moon, and now they're popping out on the sort of the right-hand side of the screen, coming back to Earth.
Okay, cool.
So hopefully we get something from that. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Where are they at in their? What are they talking about? Let's eavesdrop.
Okay.
So Kelsey's been on console all day. I'll take over kind of closer to the end of the day. And then Trevor Graff is on the planning shift. And so it's the three of us in this 24-hour cycle supporting the mission. And so the Science Officer console is a brand new console to mission control. And it's not every day that you get a new discipline incorporated into mission control. So it's been such a significant milestone for us. And it's just a testament to like the commitment that the Flight Operations Directorate and NASA have, that they're going to be integrating science and maximizing science throughout Artemis. So it's really exciting. And then the science preparation. So I'm on the operations team, but I'm also on the training team. So all the incredible training and shout outs that you've gotten today, it warms my heart. It warms everybody's heart in the science evaluation room. I promise you that. But so all the classroom training, the field training, the mission simulations, right? We were part of all of it. And, that is what we did to get the crew to be, they are a part of the science team and they are the forefront, that nice edge. And they're just been doing such a great job today.
I know. I imagine that you have to be pretty proud of them. Their reports have been fantastic. So I would like to know a little bit about how you have developed procedures for this crew. What kind of science activities are they carrying out inside the spacecraft?
Yeah, so the procedure development has been a unique challenge. I would say the exploration science that we're doing is inherently pretty flexible, and operations is, I'd say, inherently has more structure and rigidity. And so to marry the two and to operationalize the science that we want to get done has been a challenge. But I think we've been able to go through these processes and create good products at the end and have a good plan. And yeah, it's been really great. What was the second part of your question?
Just what kind of these science activities that they're performing, which of those have you really had a hand in?
Yeah, so a lot of the procedures help organize what the crew is doing in the cabin. And I know we've talked a lot about, what they've been doing, and they've been doing a lot, and it's been a little dark, so I can re-explain what some of those things that they're doing. So the observation blocks are about an hour long, and the crew is organized, the 4 crew members are organized into 2 pairs of 2, the window team and the cabin team. And the lunar targeting package that you've been showing up and that the crew have on their handheld tablets is really the instructions for the window team. So the window team, the 2 crew members are looking out the window. One has the camera with the long lens, one has, they're just looking out the window with their unaided eye, and they're taking these detailed observations. And then halfway in that observation block, they do the window team position swap. So that's what Capcom's been calling out, and they'll switch positions. So each crew member has a chance to have that long lens. And then that's just what the window team is doing. There's also the cabin team where they also have duties that they're doing. We're asking a lot of the crew in this time. And then the cabin team, they have the interior camera and they're taking images inside the cabin. They're also supporting the window team where, you've heard some call outs where looking out at the bright moon and then looking inside the dark cabin and looking at their LED screen is a lot. So the cabin team is also helping support, target and guide the window team into specific targets on their plan. They're also helping call out these science situational reps. So they're looking out a different window and listening in to what the crew who are really down and in the science on the window team are doing, and they're giving us insight. And those recordings that the window team is doing are going to be uplinked or downlinked overnight, and we're going to be able to chew on that data. But yeah, they're helping. They're doing a lot. And so making sure we have a plan that's flexible, but also make sure that we check off all those boxes was really important.
So,
Yeah, well, they're talking about something that's sort of important, and it reminds me of back in the day when I was flying, and they're talking about their eyes adjusting to looking outside to something really, really bright, and then looking inside and looking at lit screens, but trying to keep everything dark inside.
Yep.
There's actually sort of a physiological thing that is important for humans that I think that they're working with here, and that is for you to have good night vision, dark vision, your eyes produce something called visual purple, and that chemical that it goes into your eyes when it's really, really dark allows you to see. But as soon as you see something bright, the visual purple is destroyed and you lose your night vision. So it's really important to get the conditions properly so that everybody has good night vision and it's not destroying it, which means it's going to take you longer to get that night vision back to be able to perform your mission. So it sounds like what they're doing is they're trying to manage that not only with shifts, but also to try to maximize their ability for their eyes to function the best so that they can get those imagery.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I'm reading some of these comments. This one made me laugh. I have watched a few of Ellie's videos, and I feel she would be better doing the interview. The lady doing it is constantly nodding her head and looking at her screen, and she's not like interested. It would be an honor to, like, I don't know, guest on a NASA stream somehow. That'd be really cool. Maybe someday. But also, that's Leah Cheshire, right? She's like pretty famous, right? Is she with SpaceX, or am I? No,
I think that was NASA, and I don't remember her name.
I think her name is. I mean, I think she's doing fine. It's interesting though to read some of the sentiment. Like I was reading earlier, some people say that they feel like some of the responses are a little too pre-planned or kind of canned or whatever. Do you get that sense, or you think it's pretty genuine today?
Oh, you mean like the interaction between the mission control and the astronauts?
Everyone, yeah.
There is a degree of scripted, but I think that's on purpose because everything that they're doing is historic, and it's all going to be studied in the future by some historian, and they're going to go and kind of like what we do now is they're going to obsess over every single word. You know, what did Ellie say? And did she really mean this, or did she mean that? Or, you know, so I think that they want to make sure that their messages are all along the same line. So you saw that in a lot of cases they were reading them, but I think it's also just to try to make sure that they stay on topic. I don't know. Because, I mean, you'd imagine me, if I was up there looking at the moon and they're asking me questions, I'd be like, holy crap, look at the freaking moon. Look at the, you know.
I was going to say, like, can't we just have a genuine, like, oh, shit. You know, like,
oh my God, have you freaking looked out the window?
Like, you know, like, wow, it's the moon. You know, it's so professional, but
well, there's a little bit of that. But you know, another thing I was thinking about when we were watching Mission Control and the two ladies talking, and they're talking about how do they manage the operations, all that. Let's just imagine ourselves 3 or 4 or 5 years from now when there are multiple different missions going on, and they have a lunar base, and they have, you know, other science experiments going on, and all this stuff. I don't know if we've actually heard and what the plans are to manage all of the operations when we start having that much activity. And I'm kind of curious how they're going to manage that. And also just the amount of coverage that we're getting here where, you know, they can interview people because there's one mission going on and everybody's talking about that one mission. But just imagine there's 40 missions going on, what that's going to be like.
Then they could use Ellie's help. And I could come volunteer for a live stream. There we go. And Joe's help.
I'll help with the operations.
Yeah. Lee says, I went to sleep. I just woke up. Did they see the Apollo landing sites? It sounds like they saw 12 and 14. So 2 of them.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. I put up a map and why they were looking at that with the trajectory that they were on. They said that was a mission objective. Whether they got really good pictures or not, I don't know. They haven't really shown that yet. But I suspect that with at least with what I've seen with their equipment at 8,000 miles above the surface, the sites would be very, very hard to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like we were saying, wouldn't it be better if they were just on the moon right now?
It would be. They can walk right on over there. You know, I don't know. What do you think? If we landed on the moon and we were near one of the Apollo sites, do you think we should go over and take a look at them, or do you think we should avoid them?
I mean, why not?
Well, it's history.
Yeah.
You're disturbing a site. You know, it's pristine.
No, I think you go there. I mean, do you disagree?
Well, there's a lot of people talking. It's almost like shipwrecks, like the Titanic or whatever, where people say, hey, it's a graveyard or it's sacred ground. We don't want people to go. We don't want to touch anything and all that. And there's people that are saying the same thing about the Apollo landing sites. And then there's others that are saying, if we don't go and get some of the stuff now, maybe it'll be destroyed, or maybe, something will happen to it. I'm not really 100% sure myself. I think if we got close and took pictures of, say, the Apollo landing area, that would be okay. But taking parts off of the lander, I don't know if I would want that.
Oh, I agree with that. I wouldn't mess with anything, but also, it's not a graveyard up there. It's not like a Mount Everest or, Titanic, like we mentioned. So I think, I don't know. I guess I never thought about that until right now.
Yeah. Well,
By the way,
it's going to be a question. If we start getting a lot of people on the moon, you know what people are like. Let's go hiking. Let's go exploring.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Space Dude 42.0, for the super chat. Such an exciting day. Happy to spend it with the two of you. Thank you both. Thanks for coming back. I'm always surprised that people like to hang out with us live, and I probably
There's
don't
a lot
do
of cool things going on, and I'm glad to see everybody's excited about it.
Yeah, I was watching my friend who lives in Japan, and she was doing some of her own coverage, in Japanese, and I listened to a good 10 minutes of it. I have no idea what they were saying, but it was really cool to watch.
Yeah. Well, if Jared's plan with the Artemis program proceeds the way he was talking about, Japan's going to have a pretty slick lander, that JAXA lander that I think is actually pressurized. So it'd be like a mobile mini base.
I will say, sorry to change topic and go back to what we were talking about there, but I did go on a hike with Scott Manley to a plane crash that was a long time ago, but I did feel a little weird about being there. Even not like touching stuff, but just kind of like hiking around it and in it. It was like, and a lot of people go there. It's not like, we discovered it. And a lot of people, they might mess with it. And there's warnings about don't take anything from here, but it did feel a bit strange to be there. I was like, I wonder what kind of energy. I mean, I guess this is also going on a tangent, but I went to Hiroshima as well. I didn't like being there. It was very weird energy. And, so I think some of those things, they are a little bit iffy, but obviously, the Apollo sites, it's not like some big tragedy. I mean, miraculously, tragedy didn't happen there.
I think they are declared as historic sites, and that brings with it certain restrictions. But there will be a time somewhere in the future where somebody will go over there and they'll say, hey, I got a mold of Neil Armstrong's footprint or whatever. And it's going to make people go, what are you doing?
Well, it looks like most people in the comments, people are a little split. Many want the site as proof once and for all. They should check the site. However, some people say, leave the moon relics museum pieces alone.
Yeah.
But I would want to go see if the rover would still fire up. Leave it untouched.
Yeah.
It is a historic site of great cultural significance. This generation has no right to meddle with it. Keep 11 pristine. Leave no new footprints there. The first footprints are sacred history. Okay.
Yeah,
I think most people are against it.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to be a lot of discussion about that and a lot of thought before we get, for a while, you're going to get professionals that are on the moon and they're not going to, do something like that. But there will be a time where we have a lot other people there, and we'll have to see what they do.
I want to bring this up because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I think it is a good question, but it has a very good answer as well. Why did the Artemis astronauts circle the moon at such a great distance, about 4,000 miles? It seems that it would really screw up the opportunities for great photographs because they simply weren't trying to land. And as we mentioned with the gravity well, if they got too close, it could potentially suck them in?
Well, you have to course correct, and if you get too close, you could get either captured or hit it, or if you're too far away. In this case, it would have just kept them on a return trajectory that would have taken longer. They wouldn't have gone off to the sun orbit or whatever. They just would have taken a little bit longer to get back to Earth. But I think a lot of it goes back to what was the mission objectives for Artemis 2. One of them is that they wanted to be able to photograph different parts of the moon that we had not been able to see before because of the time, the lunar night, and the orbits that the Apollo missions did. Some of it is that Apollo was a lot closer, so we wanted to get more of the moon. Some of it, I think, was probably a little bit of risk management because this is the first time in 53 years we sent anybody to the moon. So we want to be a little bit, sure of ourselves before we do farther. And remember, this is the last of the original Artemis construct, and now we're transitioning to a new one. So things are going to be changing. And then there's a physical part of it too, and that is the design of the SLS with the upper stage and the Orion capsule and its delta V capability. Is it really wasn't meant to try to bring it into low lunar orbit, or to try to get it to lower orbit. So based on all of those reasons, they decided that they wanted to do it this way.
Good reasons. And we were talking about earlier off camera, they currently do not have, let's say, for example, the next rocket for the next Artemis mission ready to go. They're not like a SpaceX where they have a surplus of hardware, right?
Not exactly, but they do have the bulk of Artemis 3 of the SLS either at or soon to be at Kennedy Space Center for stacking. So they probably within a month or so, we're going to start seeing that one being stacked and put together. So that is there. And I think Artemis 4s, they have a lot of it nearly ready to go, but now we have to figure out what is the plan and how are they going to reconfigure that, because they're standardizing the SLS. They've got rid of the 1B. They got rid of the exploration upper stage. They're going to the Centaur 5. There may be some other changes. So I think that may affect to some degree what they do with the hardware, because they don't know what hardware they're going to want to use. And it also now starts bringing into the equation what's Blue Origin doing with their systems, what SpaceX doing with their systems. Artemis 3 will help really set what Artemis 4 is going to be based on what is available and what they're able to test. And then that will inform what hardware is going to go on Artemis 4, 5, and beyond. So sort of the answer is yes, they do have some of the parts that they need for 3. A lot of them, they have some of the parts for 4. But we also have to look at what Blue Origin and SpaceX is doing as well. So the next few years is going to be an interesting time to see what all the decisions are made and what actually materializes. I don't know if that is the best answer, but I think that's the one that is closest to being accurate.
Well, I'm going to sort of make a question here based off some other questions that I was seeing on X, and maybe a dumb question, but you'll answer it. Why, for example, couldn't we use either a Dragon or Falcon Heavy or both just to do this without any SLS and Orion?
Okay, well, those are good questions. Falcon Heavy, it's not human rated, and SpaceX has no intention to make it human rated. So with that out of the way, that kind of rules out Falcon Heavy for taking people. Now, Falcon Heavy was going to be used to put the Lunar Gateway into orbit, but now that that's been essentially repurposed and ultimately will probably be canceled, I don't see that mission's not happening. Now, they could maybe use a Falcon Heavy to take some of the materials that they're going to repurpose from Gateway and use it for the lunar base. So we'll have to see what they do with that. But Falcon Heavy is not human rated. With the Dragon is just not designed, one, for the duration that you would need to go to the moon to operate and then come back. It has a limited time frame that they can do that. The other thing is that the heat shield of the Dragon is designed for reentry from low Earth orbit velocities. It's not designed for returning from the moon velocities, which is significantly higher, and the heat loading, the heat flux, it would probably it would disintegrate the Dragon. So for those reasons, that's why they can't use that. Now, the Dragon could be used for low Earth orbit, say launching crew and then transferring to a vehicle, say a Starship going to the moon, but it would be pretty much limited for that purpose.
Well, why not make Falcon Heavy human rated?
Because I think SpaceX wants to put all of their effort into the Starship. So why dedicate any resources or anything else to what they consider an older
Because it
system?
works.
Yeah, but they want to retire it. Everything is on Starship. I mean, if you look at not only what SpaceX wants to do with Mars, but bringing it back to the more current plans, is they want to do AI data centers, and that would be doing basically the V3 Starlinks that are modified. You can only do those in Starship. They want to take stuff to the moon, and they're on contract to use the Starship as the lander, not the Falcon Heavy or anything else. So all of their plans are Starship, and they're putting everything, all the new development into Starship.
Well, maybe they should hire more people and work on several missions and several things at once.
Well, we'll see what SpaceX ends up doing, but I still think in the back of my head somewhere, SpaceX, it would not surprise me if they end up doing a lot on their own. One of the things is, with the orbiting data AI centers, orbiting data centers. Sorry about that. Too much words. But SpaceX says that what they want to do is have their own lunar base with their own mass driver to manufacture stuff and then shoot it back to Earth so that it could be cheaper. That does not sound like a NASA mission to me. And that sounds like a completely SpaceX mission, from the base to the mass driver to the production, everything.
I see. Well,
but I may be wrong, but it seems like that's what is in the cards.
I see. Yeah, it's just.
I was going to say, Gwen Shotwell was just interviewed, and she said a lunar base in 10 years, 5, hopefully.
Yeah, I think the reason that I just bring it up or ask is just because I didn't think that we'd already be in April still without a Starship flight. And, I know that they have to get it right, but so much hinges on Starship. You would think they might want to explore Falcon Heavy to some degree, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think that they're dedicating everything to that, and
they need to hurry it up.
They do. We talked earlier about a new FCC request from SpaceX that gives the option for Flight 13 to be an orbital flight for the ship, and of course, depends on what happens between now and Flight 12 and how Flight 12 goes, but it seems like SpaceX is trying to figure out ways of accelerating, and part of their work with NASA and the request from NASA and now Jared is, how do you accelerate Starship? So we may be starting to see that.
So, okay, and I feel like I haven't seen anyone talk about the allegedly upcoming New Glenn launch. Is that actually happening in a few days here, or maybe not?
I think the last I saw was either the 12th or the 14th. It was originally on the 10th, but I think because Artemis is coming back, I think they slipped it a little bit. But
no one's talking about it.
Well, part of it is everything's Artemis, but part of it is Blue Origin needs to engage the public more, I think. But this will be a big one for them, because I believe that this is the first reuse of a New Glenn rocket, at least the booster. So that will be new for them. And I think the next mission after this, the next launch after this, may be their Mark 1 lander to go to the moon to demonstrate their capabilities. So that will be something that happens by the fall, I think. So we'll see how they do, but they're going to have to up their pace as well.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited for it. I just haven't heard much about it. I've really heard about it through you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get some more word, but as far as I know, it's about a week away.
Allegedly.
Yeah, let me see if there's any updates while you ask me more questions.
See, us in the news biz, we would have to say it's allegedly a week
allegedly
away. I say allegedly all the time, and I think people that don't know my background in news, they just think it's so funny and quirky, and I'm like, no, it's because I had to say it a lot, because sometimes things are just allegedly. Oh, yeah, here we go. What are they talking about now?
April 14th is the next Blue Origin launch.
14th. Okay. I'll be flying out the day after that.
Near the near side equator. Really interesting and really critical insights were unlocked with the Apollo samples, but we have so many questions still to answer about the moon and the evolution of the moon.
And liftoff of Artemis 1. we rise together back to the moon.
Hey, you were there.
And beyond.
I was.
NASA's
Were you there
Artemis
for one?
missions are NASA's plan to send people to the surface of the moon. We'll be sending people and roving assets and scientific equipment to, among other things, answer a lot of really compelling science questions. Scientists have a lot to learn about the moon. It's our nearest celestial neighbor here to Earth, so what the moon has experienced, we've experienced, except here on Earth, we have things like plate tectonics, oceans, forests, people that erase the rock record. Whereas on the moon, that whole record of our planet's history, of the moon's history, is just kind of waiting there at the surface for us to explore. The South Pole, which is where Artemis missions are going to target, is specifically interesting for a couple key reasons. We think there are volatiles at the South Pole of the moon that are not present near the equator. Things like water and water ice that are trapped in the lunar regolith, which basically just means lunar soil, that can easily become untrapped from that lunar regolith, and scientists can scoop up and study for return to Earth. The lunar South Pole is a really exciting scientific target, and it also comes with some challenges for operating. For example, the lighting environment will change drastically within the course of one mission, and even over sometimes the course of one spacewalk. So preparing the crew members, preparing the hardware that we're sending to the moon, and preparing the mission control teams is really, really important. The South Pole Aitken Basin is particularly exciting. We think it's one of the oldest and largest impact basins in the solar system. And if we can get the right rock from the South Pole Aitken Basin and bring it back to our labs here on Earth, we can use that sample to constrain the entire evolution of our solar system and really understand the timing of how the moon and our planet and the entire solar system evolved.
Whoa.
I would say one thing she said was not necessarily correct is that they would do a lot of in situ resource with the material, not bringing it back.
Joe's like, she's wrong.
She's just, there's a nuance there.
All right, I'll send her a message that she's wrong. That's so funny. No, that's interesting. I mean, I think I actually think that NASA coverage hasn't been that bad. I don't know why people are
I think it's just that, like, you know, everybody's used to 4K stuff all the time, and they just don't understand that this is new, and part of the consequences of us not paying attention to anything beyond low Earth orbit for the last 5 decades is we don't have infrastructure around the moon to give us 4K live all the time. So that is coming.
Oh, this view of inside the capsule looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if this was Apollo era, that would be considered like miraculous.
Insanity.
You know, we were lucky with that to see this little screen and, you know, blobs and going, I think that's an astronaut.
Some of these comments, if NASA coverage was good, we wouldn't be watching you.
Thank you.
Ouch. That's very sweet of you. Well, we appreciate you watching us.
I think you need to contact Jared and say it's time for you to take over NASA media affairs.
It's time to have Ellie in space for a guest broadcast. I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I will say I'm very impressed with what Jared has done in such a short amount of time. He really has, like, you know, birthed this new NASA, it feels like. It's
just right now, it's just the right timing. I think we have the right person who's able to get Congress to support. We have an administration that is supporting. I know everybody's going to talk about the budget. That's something else, but it'll work its way out. And we have hardware, and we have commercial partners coming online with their own hardware. So I think we're in a very unique time. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping this lasts as long as possible, because we are going to see really good changes that are going to make a lot of the promises that we've been given for a long time actually happen. Artemis 2 is very important because so far it's been very, very successful, and nothing breeds success like success. And having a great mission here, going into a great mission for Artemis 3, hopefully that goes within a year. And hopefully the commercial partners come through with theirs systems, and that works out. And then we have a good demo of one or both on the moon sometime in late 27. And then we have people actually going back in 28 and then building a base. If each of those happens, then I think we're on a great path. And Jared has just, I don't know, I don't think there could be anybody better picked for this job. And it's not just because we know him or whatever. I really do think that he is the right person.
He's awesome, dude. I mean, really, some people are saying Jared for president. And I'm like, once he's done at NASA, maybe that's not a bad idea. By the way,
moon base first.
Yeah, let's get a moon base and then he can, work on the government. Thank you for this comment. This is the best coverage from so many awful sites. Thank you, Ellie, because even my wife is watching. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. I don't know what we're doing that's so special, but I just like to keep it real. And I think to make jokes or just, have fun with it. I think some of this coverage can be so buttoned up and it's like, man, we need a comedian or something. This has been going on for like so many hours today. Like, this is exciting. This is, I try to keep it real. So I'm glad that you guys enjoy the coverage, but I think, I think I would make some people laugh if I was able to guess.
Why not? Oh, that's sort of the thing, is having fun with this. And while we're doing this, I'm geeking out looking at what's on his tablet going, look at all those pictures. I want to see them. Yeah. Show us your pictures.
Did you notice that earlier in the broadcast, they said, Mission Control responded and said, amaze, 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 in reference to Project Hail Mary? I was like, that is so incredibly nerdy.
I agree.
Fun. It's like.
By the way, have you seen it?
I did.
I have not.
It was really good. I went to it fairly blind because I hadn't read the book, and of course ran into a fan, who recognized me in the dark theater. I'm like,
okay.
Should have predicted that, I'd see someone who watches my channel in there. It was really cool. No, it was good. It wasn't as I don't know, complicated as Interstellar. Interstellar is kind of pretty deep and kind of heavy. Actually kind of existential. I remember when my dad watched Interstellar, I didn't watch it with him.
Yeah.
And it like moved him to tears. Like, he called me very, very emotionally distraught. So it's definitely not heavy like that, but it's good. And I think
like The Martian, is it like that?
It's closer to that for sure than Interstellar. I mean, I don't want to, give it away. It's definitely, what's cool about it is I feel like
Lost in Space. Is it like that?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the original, then there was a remake, and then there was another remake. And I like of the three. I mean, I remember the original one, but the one that was remade, and I don't know if it was on Amazon Prime or whatever, it was like a series. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely pretty family friendly, I would say. And, I did notice it seemed to get a lot of people back in the theaters. And, my husband is like a diehard movie fan. So we're actually in the theaters every week, which is probably pretty abnormal. I have a movie theater rewards, club thing because we're there so often.
I was gonna say, you have an Ellie in Space reviews.
Yeah, well, I did. They did an Interstellar IMAX showing for the 10-year anniversary. So I went and MOS'd people, interviewed people at the theater, and I tried to make a video about it. I don't think anyone cared. Plus, videos are a little hard to review because you're dealing with copyright issues up the wazoo if you show anything. So it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, no, I like that Project Hail Mary has not only gotten little kids excited about space, because it's kind of good for the whole family, but it seems like it's bringing a lot of people back into the theater. So that's cool.
Well, if that's what it's doing, then I'm all for it. But I was just thinking about your review. You got to be careful. I just reviewed this movie and you wouldn't believe what happened. The hero, blah.
I know. The spoilers. That's the problem too. Even scrolling on social media now, it's like so many spoilers with no warning. It's like I've liked that show Love on the Spectrum. I haven't even watched the new season, and I know everything that happens just from scrolling on social media, because people will say, oh my God, this couple's not together anymore. This couple, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my gosh, do you guys have to ruin it?
Did you just see what he did?
What?
They looked at a picture of Earthrise, I think, and he went, yes. So I think they got a really amazing shot. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at the pictures right now.
That's so cool.
I can barely see what it is, but yeah, they're excited about it.
Wait, can you hear them? Let me see. Oh, I think they're muted. I just turned the volume up.
All he has to do is turn the tablet this way.
Yeah, show it to us, dude.
They're teasing us. Oh, it's a white screen.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they didn't have them muted, but
he's about to talk.
Wait.
Priority PAO activities on Reed's timeline are on PCD1 in a folder imagery for downlink, and then high priority standby imagery for downlink, and then lunar flyby for PAO, and then high priority PAO. Thank you.
See, they got some stunners.
High priority. High priority. Get this to the people so we can post it on social media.
Absolutely. I think they hear us. Come on, download it.
I know. Hurry up. I will say that one photo of, I think it was Reed with, the silhouette of his face and the Earth in the background has like 29 million impressions. I was like, damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think this is what's cool, that we are actually seeing all this as it's happening, which is really amazing. For
sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like if they didn't show this, it would not be good for the space is fake or real debate.
Well, we've talked about that before. There's going to be some that no matter what you show them, even if you put them on the rocket and flew them up there, they would still say it's not real. And then the rest of them will figure it out.
You really think if they actually got to experience it for themselves, they would still question it?
Some would, because imagine the clicks that you would get if you came back and said, they flew me to the moon and it was fake.
Oh my God.
By the way, we're just a little bit over 10 minutes away from the eclipse period beginning.
And so what are we going to see? Or is that going to be obvious to us or no?
Well, it should. I'm kind of curious to see, because when we think about like a total eclipse, we think about the Earth and the sun approximately the same size. So you see a black dot and then the stuff around it, the corona. In this case, I don't know. I mean, they're really close to the moon, so it's a big thing. And of course, the sun's big, but it's still far away. So I don't know. Maybe they might have the limb of the moon, and we'll see some craters and some topography, and then we'll see the corona behind it. I'm actually kind of curious to see what they actually show.
Okay.
But you can see here where the sun in this picture, I think that's sort of a good visualization where they're at, the moon and then the sun right behind Orion. And I don't know, but I would imagine that they would have to reposition the Orion, move it for them to get the pictures, but we'll see.
Well, it said that they're going to wear their eye protection, and they better. That stuff is no joke. Scary.
Exactly. Yeah. I would think that this power of the sun is even more there than it is through our atmosphere, because the atmosphere will, attenuate a little tiny bit of it. It's still bad to look at. But yeah. So wouldn't that be funny if they have those, Mylar glasses that you get for eclipses?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they mentioned they'd have something, so hopefully we'll get to see what exactly they wear. But wow, that's so cool. I was in the path of totality for the 2017. Remember that one, the 2017 lunar eclipse? That was
solar.
Oh, solar.
Yeah.
I was in Oregon for that. I was actually reporting on it like live for my TV news station. So I was like interviewing people from all around the world who flew out just to be there and see it, be in the path of totality. And it was nuts. Like, it was only a few minutes, but from it's like I always call when I saw Artemis the reverse of that, because it's like the the total solar went from day to night to day. And then that first Artemis launch was at night. So it went from night to day because it was so bright. It was disorienting, but it was interesting how like weird people got. Like people were screaming, crying, so many cries, like wailing, just, you know, just like animals. It was like, oh my God, what's going on? Imagine if, you know, we were cavemen and we didn't really know what was going on. That's probably what it would be like, and we're still doing that.
Yeah, well, there's the records of history of wars that were lost because there was predictions of something, and then an eclipse happened, and people thought it was, you know, a bad omen, so they stopped the wars. I don't know if I told you or not, but I saw probably the coolest solar eclipse. It was at the end of, I think it was 1999 or so. But the reason why I remember that is I was actually I was flying in the Air Force, and I was on a mission that went over to Romania, and we were there for the eclipse, and I worked with the U.S. Embassy, and they took us over to Dracula's castle, and I watched the eclipse, the total eclipse from Dracula's castle.
Oh my gosh, that's memorable.
And it's actually Vlad Dracul is his real name, but it is a real place, and it was really, really weird. And the history of that is he got his nickname, or he got his reputation, because he had a penchant for I don't know, his the vanquished enemies. He would put them on spikes and stick them around the castle as a warning. So I was watching it from there, and it's just getting really dark in the middle of the day. It was just bizarre.
Oh gosh, that's crazy. Do you remember where you were I guess you probably were in Texas for the 2017 one, right? You would know if you were in the path of totality.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I remember, what was it, the 2024 one, but unfortunately it was cloudy.
Yeah, I was out of the country on that one. Oh well.
Yeah, 2017. Man. You know what? I think I was probably in Tucson, Arizona at the time, taking care of my mom just before she passed away.
Oh.
So I wasn't here.
Oh. I was just there in Tucson area.
Yeah. I saw that you went into a Titan missile silo.
Yeah, I did. It was really cool. I wished that we could go underneath it, but I guess they don't offer that anymore. So you just get the viewpoint from kind of above and a little bit beside it, but it was still very cool. I mean, you could go underneath many of the levels, but you couldn't like stand underneath the engines, for example, of the display missile. But it was still very cool. And I made a video about it, and it did okay. Just as I predicted.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Most people may not realize, but the missile that was in that silo actually has a link to the early NASA missions, the Mercury missions, particularly the first orbital ones, is that they modified a Titan rocket after they used the Mercury Redstone for the first 2 suborbitals, and John Glenn flew in one of those.
Wow.
So our nuclear missile technology is what spearheaded the initial NASA missions.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're in the area, I don't know why you'd ever be in the area, but if you happen to find yourself in Green Valley, Arizona, then you should go there.
Why not? Why not?
It was really cool. And then we went to, I kind of wish I made a video about it, but I had horrible sleep and I was a complete zombie, but there was a copper mine that we got to tour, and that was pretty fascinating, actually. But
like making a giant hole in the ground.
Correct. It was like the artificial Grand Canyon of
actually
Arizona.
It's the artificial crater, lunar crater.
Yeah. No, it was like, I mean, it was really crazy to see it. So once again, if you're ever there, do these 2 very random but cool things.
Okay. We're just about 6 or 7 minutes away from the eclipse, and on a different screen, I can see that they're showing some video, and right now it just looks like you can see the Orion, but everything else is dark around it. So I'm not sure where they're pointing it right now. They may be pointing it to the shadowed side of the moon, but I think they've got it positioned. I think what we're seeing here is not accurate, at least from what I'm seeing with the live feed on another one.
Well, we have a celebrity in the chat, Marcus House. Happy Flyby Day. Let's see. What time is it in Tasmania? What time in Tasmania, Australia? It's okay. It's not too early. It's 10:28 a.m. So.
Okay. Well, happy Moon Day, Marcus.
Wouldn't it be? Is it Tuesday for him?
It's Tuesday for him. Yeah.
Happy. Can we make a moon pun for Tuesday? No.
I don't know.
That's something I should outsource to ChatGPT. Make a pun related to moon lingo for every day of the week. Might not be possible. Regolith? What would regolith go with? I don't know. I don't know.
Not very much. At least not right now.
He says 10:30 Tuesday. Moon puns away. Go, go, go. Yeah. Need to learn. Hey, I learned a new word today, and that's albedo.
Yeah.
I actually
you have to be careful when you say that you don't say a different word.
What? Libido or albino?
I've heard people when they're talking about space stuff, they'll say the libido of the moon or the libido. It's like it's not the libido.
That's what I kept thinking of. That's what I kept thinking of. But someone online also said it makes me think of albino. So it's like albino, libido, albedo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's basically a measure of its brightness or how much it's reflecting.
Yeah, well, now we know. And I was surprised to see that the values are only really on a scale from 0 to 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever scale you need, as long as it's consistent.
I'm surprised it's not like 0 to 100. I don't know. I feel like that would make it easier for little pea brains like me, but
I don't know. I think it's good enough. I mean, that's just small. If you say it's a 5 versus an 8, you have an idea. If you say it's a 50 versus an 80, it's like, how much different is that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I think what they might, there we go. That's the live shot. But I think they were talking a little bit about why they do, why they want to study the corona using the eclipse and some of the particles that come off of the sun and sort of the space weather is part of what we are learning.
Let's see what they have to say here.
We are still in our flyby coverage, and the crew is on a short break right now as we have changed the attitude of the spacecraft to help charge the batteries aboard. We use the solar arrays to gather energy from the sun and store it in the batteries. That way, when we are not in the sunlight, we have those batteries to continue powering Orion. Now, we're doing so because the Artemis astronauts are about to experience a solar eclipse from their capsule. And this is a solar eclipse that no one else on Earth will experience.
Boo-hoo.
This eclipse is about 54 minutes, and to the astronauts, it'll look a lot like a total solar eclipse.
It's really
on
long.
Earth, except the moon is going to be huge compared to the sun.
That's what we were talking about.
On Earth and the moon and the sun appear about the same size in the sky.
That got my son to kick. He's kicking me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
He's excited. He wants to see the eclipse.
You know what? I've never actually felt him go more nuts. I'm pregnant right now, by the way, for all of you who don't know, and I'm almost in the 3rd trimester. But during Arrival, have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Okay, so they make all these like weird, like almost sounding like it's like underwater, alien noises, and he was going nuts. So I don't know. Maybe he understood something that we don't, but
maybe.
It was kind of cool.
This is kind of neat. We're seeing a little bit of the sun probably peeking around the last bit of the moon is my guess on the upper right.
Wow.
But yeah, I really want to see what they're actually going to image here.
And so how is it 54 minutes? Because the one that I saw on the ground was like maybe 2.5 minutes.
Well, because one, they're really close to this big moon. So the moon is humongous. It takes up a lot of their sky.
That's so
And even though they're
cool.
moving around it, it's just, I don't know, just the orientation of the moon, the capsule, and the sun, and the speed that it's going, and just how close they are to the moon is what's making it longer.
Yeah.
And I think you can see the outline of, I think it's hard to tell for sure, but I almost think I see some of the moon on the right with the sun just barely over the horizon. But it's hard to tell with the camera flares that we're getting here.
Golden Pacific Media, who says that the baby can hear through my stomach. He knows what's going on. I know he can hear, but I'm just saying he really lit up during those alien noises, and I don't know why. But yeah, he's an Artemis era baby, so it's really cool. In some ways, well, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm glad, but like, hopefully when we actually land on the moon, because now it's not going to be on 3, it's going to be on Artemis 4, hopefully, maybe my son will be able to remember it, which is really
he'll be like a year and a half old.
You think it's going to happen that quickly?
I think they're going to do everything they possibly can do it in 28.
Then he'll definitely not remember it. But but Joe, we've seen a lot of delays. We don't know. I mean,
yeah, well, I am hopeful. I'm realistic, and I know that this is a very big stretch goal. So I'm not unaware of that, but I am very hopeful.
By the way, Nicholas says, read stories to your baby now. I read all 52 pages of the actual short story that Arrival is based on to my baby and my husband. And it was a lot of reading out loud.
Well, you can start with orbital mechanics, and you can read to him now, and he'll be a astronaut.
Well, we need baby level orbital mechanics for this one too. So
yeah, I saw a book. I forget exactly who made it, but it was something like Einstein's Relativity for Babies.
That's right. That is my pay grade. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah, but I think what we're seeing is the sun is going right over the limb of the moon, and you can kind of see the limb, the arc of the moon coming into view now.
Marcus says, I know everyone is making a big deal out of this eclipse, but really the ISS has an eclipse with Earth every 90 minutes. So, it's just a matter of perspective. In this case, humans are seeing an eclipse that no one on Earth will see. So that is unique in that special case.
Yeah, and there's also something different too, is that there's no atmosphere on the moon, so that's not going to attenuate to some degree the eclipse. Whereas when you do it on the Earth, you're going to get a little bit of the sliver of the atmosphere. So I'm wondering if that's part of why they're doing a lot of the science with this particular one. But he is right, and there's also other ways of doing it. You can just use a plate in front of the camera to shield the sun and do the eclipse that way as well. But it is definitely this is definitely unique, not only because of the location, but I think it's because you're using the moon as your eclipse, the device to shield the sun.
Well, Joe, give us a rundown, because as I mentioned, we're no longer landing on Artemis 3. So what are we doing? We're kind of doing a little bit more involved of what we're doing now, right? More practice of rendezvousing and...
Yeah, well, the way the original Artemis program was set up is Artemis 2 was this mission, a flyby by the moon, and Artemis 3 was going to be a landing of the astronauts. And that's kind of a pretty large leap between one and the other, considering we haven't done that in over 50 years. So, one of the things that Jared has brought into the equation is this idea that we need to build muscle memory, we need to get experience back, we need to get people familiar with the hardware. And with all the changes that's being made, is we need to know what that hardware is and how it works, how it the interoperability between all the hardware. So Artemis 3, instead of being a landing now on the moon, has been repurposed to be a low Earth orbit rendezvous with one or both of the commercial landers. Also, there's a lot of question about what is the launch system, because the SLS can pretty much take the Orion capsule and put it into low Earth orbit by itself. You don't need to have that interim cryogenic propulsion system or any other upper stage. So there's some questions about is there going to be one? And if not, what is the solution? Also, Scott Manley has actually asked the question, if the interim propulsion system is used and there's a lot of capability left, can you use that to launch other missions? So perhaps that's something that they're looking at. But the basic idea is that they will go to low Earth orbit. The two lander, hopefully both of the lander systems, which will be kind of neat, will also launch and rendezvous in low Earth orbit, and then they will be able to practice how do they dock, how do they transfer crew, maybe how do they transfer equipment. They might be testing out the spacesuits, and Axiom is the one that's making the spacesuits that would be used for the lunar landing. They could probably be testing out some of their procedures, just basically testing everything while they're in low Earth orbit, so that if anything happens, they can get back to Earth pretty quickly. And then assuming that all those things go well, one or both of the landers that Blue Origin and SpaceX would make would then do a demonstration landing on the moon that's separate from Artemis 4. And then assuming that that goes well, one or both of them would be part of what would be Artemis 4. I don't think that they've actually said if both of them are going to go, are they both considered Artemis 4? Or are we going to have Artemis 4 or 5? But that's generally what the next launch is going to be. It's testing everything in low Earth orbit to make sure that we are good to go, so that the next one, when we land humans on the moon, we're ready for that.
Great explanation. I would have had to look a lot of that stuff up.
Well, one of the things that is I don't know, underappreciated is we talked about generations are about every 25 years or so. We also can say that people's professional careers are about every 20, 25 years. So since Apollo, 2 generations of just people and 2 generations of people that had experience with Apollo has come and gone. So operating equipment and going to the moon is something that very few people actually have experience with at NASA. And then having a launch cadence that is greatly accelerated is something that they don't really have a lot of people that have that firsthand experience. So we need to build that experience. And that's what Artemis 2, Artemis 3, and then the cadence that Jared's talking about will help do, so that we can sustain that lunar base. Because once that is in place, we can't just not go for the next 3 or 4 years. We have to resupply it approximately at least every 6 months, if not more than that.
Wow. Well, Marcus says there are so many questions around taking Orion and its service module from Earth orbit to the future, or to the moon in future missions past Artemis 4. We basically know nothing other than that a Centaur is involved in something to replace ICPS.
Right. Well, we talked a little bit about that on your first live stream, but it's a valid question. And some of it is a moving target because we don't know what the actual final hardware solution is going to be. And that's going to change over time. But as we understand it right now, is they got rid of the SLS Block 1B, so that's gone, and they're standardizing the SLS by using the Atlas V for the upper stage. The question is that the standard we're going to use? So in other words, it will take Orion to the moon, and then we rendezvous with the landers, and then the landers go down and do their mission? Or like with the HLS for the Starship, is that going to take Orion to the moon and then leave it in orbit and go down do its mission? And it does have the capability of doing that. So that is something that could actually happen. What I'm not sure about is the Blue Origin lander. Are they going to be able to just use the SLS, this Atlas V, and take the Orion that way? Does Blue Origin have a way of maybe using the New Glenn, or is there some other solution? And Marcus is a really good point on that, is that I don't know if NASA even knows yet, particularly what their solution is going to be. And hopefully what we find out with Artemis 3, it's going to really help inform that.
Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments.
Did I go off the hinge?
No, your shirt has already pissed someone off. Occupy. Are you kidding me?
Reoccupy. And it comes from the whole Occupy Mars, but now we're reoccupying the moon.
Well, maybe he's thinking Occupy Wall Street. I don't know. And
Oh.
then Marcus House being here proves this is the best stream running this footage. That is very sweet. Apparently, Tim Dodd live streamed for 6.5 hours today. He's done now with his stream, but we had to break it up, folks. I had to go to the gym. I had to eat a cheeseburger. You know, I only have so much stamina here.
Yeah, by the way, I would say I like Marcus House a lot. I love his weekly recaps every Saturday. They're amazing.
He's great, and he needs to get down to Starbase.
I know. Get on a plane.
I really want to see his reaction. I think it's so crazy that like he has this amazing channel about Starbase, and we really need to get him out there. But I don't blame him because, hey, we haven't had activity now for quite a while. And if you're going to make that long trip, you know, you want to see something. So,
right. Well, I hope he does one of these days, because watching it on TV and feeling it for real is totally different.
Yeah. But also seeing a catch is like so worth it. And we won't have that for at least a little bit here. So it might be a while.
That first catch is going to be shocking.
I know. Thank you to Christopher for the super chat. He wants to know, how far would Orion have gone without the moon before returning on its own?
On this particular flight, well, if they had just launched it on the highly elliptical orbit and the moon did not come by to affect it to some degree, I think they would have probably gone out another day or two. I don't know what the distance would have been, and then they would have naturally come back. So it would have probably added maybe two out, two back, at least 4 or 5 more days on the trip, assuming that they didn't do any burns. You know, so I heard some people, I saw some different channels talking about if it didn't rendezvous with the moon like it did, it was going to be in sun synchronous orbit. No, it did not have the delta V for that. It was basically on a very elliptical Earth orbit.
I see. Well, apparently Moon Trustee says Marcus does not have permission from the emus to leave Australia. or the kangaroos.
Is that true, Marcus?
I don't know. I invited him to the chat. We'll see if he hops on.
You know, by the way, I was just thinking when Orion was at its closest approach and we were seeing the moon rise, Marcus was actually on the right side of the Earth to be able to see the moon at the same time.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And then, okay, so
let's see what they're saying, because I think we're in the eclipse.
Okay, let's listen.
Of Artemis 2, the first time humans have flown by the moon in over 50 years. I'm Leah Cheshire Mustachio, and I'm excited now to hand over the game
is shifting around in the windows, and we are transferring settings on a camera to pick up Earthshine, and it is amazing. The brightness where the sunset is still bright. I think there may still be corona visible, but that part of the horizon is still lit brighter, and you still have a distinct Earthshine.
Yeah. I think the GoPros don't have the right exposure. But I bet you their stills are going to be amazing.
Yeah, that video is not very easy to make out there.
The only thing I can tell is that there's something glinting maybe on the Orion in this top center left. And then I think there's a little tiny bit of the moon on the right. You know, there's a good thing is some people were saying, you know, for this mission, they were saying that humans for the first time saw the far side of the moon. And they were like, well, why didn't Apollo see it? Well, this is kind of why, is that the far side of the moon during the Apollo missions was like this. So it's really hard to see any detail whatsoever. And, you know, unlike the Earth, where you have an atmosphere
that we don't talk when the crew is talking. So wanted to give Victor Glover a moment there to call down what he was seeing now that the moon is covering the sun. A really amazing time during today's lunar flyby. Again, thank you so much for letting us help tell this story today. I am Leah Cheshire Mustachio, handing it over to my friend Anna Schneider at the PAO console as the Orbit 2 team comes to join us. So thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoy tonight. Anna, you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Leah, and it's been a joy listening to your coverage over the last several hours. So as you mentioned, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers is currently making their way on console and completing a shift handover with the Orbit 1 team of flight controllers. The Orbit 2 team tonight will be led by Flight Director Diane Daly, and she is currently handing over with the Orbit 1 flight director there on your screen, who was Flight Director Jeff Radigan.
All right.
The Artemis 2 crew currently on board the Orion spacecraft. It continues
I
to
hope so.
observe the eclipse that they are witnessing. There's about 43 minutes remaining in that eclipse period.
They've left the ship.
Yeah, what the hell? That's what someone said. They're like, he wrote, "You two are funny." I mean, we try to be funny, you know. It's not funny necessarily, but sometimes these comments are a little funny.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was going back to you saying that a lot of the stuff seems scripted, and this is kind of very scripted. And you know, the Artemis 2 crew are still in the Orion capsule. They better be.
I would hope so. Oh, this is kind of funny. Ellie, you will need to go and look for Jim Bridenstine one of these days. He really pushed the agenda in 2019. I don't think Jim will do an interview with me because I ran a story about him recently, actually, too, about his new ambitions for ULA lobbying and kind of doing some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
There
I was
like
going to say, you'll get mad at me, but I'm like, well, he's really pushing agenda now.
Yeah. And there's no way in hell he would agree to do an interview with me because I've kind of spoken somewhat badly of his new quest to sort of, you know, make sure that SpaceX can't. The thing that I reported on apparently was dropped. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and it's basically a reflection, I think, of what's going on with the larger space community and the choices that NASA is starting to make, and how we're going to be shaping the Artemis program and the hardware that goes into that. Is you know, some of the legacy space companies need to be able to they need to compete, and they need to compete fair and square with the new space. And if they can compete, they can produce hardware, they can reduce the cost, then great. But if they can't, you know, trying to use legal methods to try to slow down your competitors is not really the best way of moving forward.
Yeah. So basically, I ran a story in March, so last month, that you know, Jim Bridenstine, who's a former NASA chief and who's now a ULA lobbyist, was seeking to create a law to limit funding that would particularly target SpaceX. So, you know, Congress would target a 50% cap or something, and that got dropped. So anyway, it was, you know, completely ridiculous. But yeah, he will. I don't think he'll do an interview with me. It's a long story short, because he, you know, he would know that I've exposed him.
Yeah, well, we'll see how these things work out. But you know, we've talked in the past where with aviation in the 50s, when it was just starting to grow, we had all these different companies that were experimenting with a lot of different systems. And that was great for a while because we learned a lot, but eventually there was a great consolidation. And I think we're seeing that now. We're in the second golden age of space. There's a lot of companies that are trying a lot of things, but we're going to start seeing a consolidation into those systems and those hardware solutions that are going to be viable, not only for NASA, but on the commercial market. And it just goes back to, can you compete on a level playing field? And that's where we need to be.
Such nice comments. Truth is why I watch your channel, Ellie. You are the most professional reporter. I don't know if I'm the most professional. I might be one of the most entertaining. I don't know if I would say professional. But thank you. I try to balance, you know, because I feel like I hate it when people take themselves so seriously and things get so stuffy, and you know, it's just, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, it should be fun.
Right. Well, I mean, this is a great time, and I know there's a lot going on, but there's a lot to be very excited about with the future, especially with space. And you know, these are historic times. We just don't realize how great we have it right now. We will in the future look back and realize how great this is, but enjoy it while we're on the ride. like when we go down to Starbase, things are changing so fast from what it used to be to now. And I'm really glad that we went down in the wild, wild west age, because those times are gone. Yep. And they're rapidly getting even farther in the rearview mirror.
Oh my gosh. I mean, talk about change. It has changed so much down there. My first trip was September of 2021. And it's like, wow, it's night and day.
Yeah, well, I was thinking next time I go down there, I'll probably do sort of a here's what's changed thing, but it's going to be like an hour-long video because everything has changed. I don't know if there's anything the same that was there at Flight 11.
Wow, that's crazy. That is really crazy. Yeah, I mean, so Elon once again delayed it. This is like the third time that he's posted it's going to go in 4 to 6 weeks. Do we really think it's going to be, it's probably not going to be at all in April.
I don't think so.
Do we think it's going to go in May for all the people at home that I know are like, when the heck are we going to see our favorite rocket?
I know that for SpaceX, not only for their own objectives, but what's going on with the Artemis program is that they really need to not only show that they can up the pace and complete the development, and there's still a lot of pretty big development parts of the Starship program, but they need to be able to demonstrate that they have great successes. And in other words, they have to go perfectly well. There cannot be any more setbacks. And I think that is one of the things that's coloring SpaceX being extremely careful. And there's still some hardware that they need to test. There's still some things that they need to do to make sure that the booster and the ship are ready to go. And also stage 0 needs to be prepared. And I think that they just know that they need to have a success. And they're also building hardware to follow the next flight. And it's being stacked pretty quickly now, both the Ship 40 and Booster 20. So maybe they're setting us up for a quick back-to-back if assuming Flight 12 goes well. There is another thing that's happening that may or may not. There's a lot of people speculating that it may be affecting the launch. Yes. And there may be some truth to that. So it's hard to say for sure.
So you're saying because we're probably having this SpaceX IPO maybe in June, that there's even more pressure. Obviously, they didn't want to have all the problems with V2 that they had and all the delays, but so they really want to get it right because so many things are hinging on Starship. But then when you have the added pressure of this freaking IPO, they're just taking their time.
That's something that people are guessing or saying or speculating on. I think that there's probably something to it, but how much I don't know. But June is, from the standpoint of Starship development and Artemis program, that's eating up half of the year. So I don't know if they want to wait that long. I think maybe their compromise is to be absolutely sure that Flight 12 is going to go perfectly, or at least as perfectly as they can possibly make it, and then go for it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Wow. As we were saying in the earlier stream, am I going to have the baby first, or are we going to have the launch?
Right. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Starship and SpaceX would put on pause everything they're doing until you have your baby?
I hope that it happens before, because it's going to be, at least for a little bit, it's going to be kind of hard for me to get out there. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. I
don't think, people like to travel too much after having a baby immediately.
Well, from a standpoint of hardware, they're not going to reuse Ship 39 and Ship 40. The chances of them reusing it is very, very low, in my opinion. So that means that if they want to really up the pace, they're going to need to have many more stacked and tested and ready to go. And the pace that they're going right now, I don't know if they're going to have 41, 42 in May. And it's also kind of, I don't know if they're going to booster 19. I don't think that can be reused. I think it's going to go in the Gulf. So would they be able to use 20? I don't know. They're going to have another booster. So if you look at the hardware, that's kind of giving us a little insight of what their pace could be for probably through at least the summer. But who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know. And so let's see, we're almost 6,000 miles from the moon now. So
Mhm.
getting
Gained
further.
about 2,000 miles away.
Wow. But we're
And we've
still
also picked up a little bit of speed. We're at 950 miles per hour, which is about public math, about 1,500 kilometers per hour. So we've gained some speed. So we are starting to, we're still within the sphere of influence of the moon, but it's reducing, and we're starting to get some of the effects of the Earth.
I'm actually surprised they're not doing stuff in like kilometers, or, I feel like that's like more appropriate, but maybe it's just because it's for us, Americans who don't know anything.
I don't know. There was actually something funny that happened during the break between your first live stream and this one, and that was Mission Control was talking to the astronauts, and they were talking about the distances that they were the record they were gonna break, and that kind of thing. And they gave it all in miles, and the crew responded back, "That's great, but can you give it to us in kilometers?"
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
That was perfect. But you know what they should do, I think, is at the very least, is where they have all the displays of the miles and the miles per hour and everything, is flip it every once in a while to kilometers and then miles. That way both audiences can see what it is. But I myself, I keep converting in my head from the miles to kilometers, because I know everybody in the industry and a lot of people that are watching this are in kilometers.
That's why I think it's a little strange, but what do you prefer?
I prefer metric, just because, I mean, I can do work in standard or imperial, but in engineering wise, it's a lot harder. So I prefer the metric system. That's what I learned on. And in flying, you kind of have to be able to speak both, because you have multiple different measuring systems that are used around the world, and it can be everything from how your altimeters are set to the altitudes to everything in between. So and then they also use knots and nautical miles per hour stuff. So I kind of got good at having to translate, especially from like Fahrenheit to Celsius, because a lot of the stuff that we get weather-wise is in Fahrenheit, but everything we put into the aircraft and the systems was in Celsius. So I had to be able to convert that in my head.
I think it's time for me to start learning. Reluctantly so. I feel like
as long as you're learning and not luring.
Luring? Yeah, no. I mean, I do feel like I should have at least somewhat of a handle. I mean, I can sort of like guesstimate a little bit. I don't know. I rented a car in Austria, and so obviously, the displays were different, and I was sort of practicing calculating that stuff a little bit with like my speed and how much fuel or whatever. But yeah, I need to learn. It's time.
Do you want to see if they're saying anything?
A little embarrassing. Yeah, sure.
There's not a whole lot that I can see that I can comment on.
Dark in that room. Get some lights in there, folks.
So they've all been either on or a bit south of the equator and on the Earth side of the moon.
They still have 30 more minutes of the eclipse.
All right, so Jeremy has seen them kind of on and south of the equator, kind of spread across the moon, and mine were both south of the equator and just a little bit left of center of the moon.
Wish I knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, you're what?
Incredible news, Reed, and reminder, we have citizen scientists here on Earth looking for impact flashes. So hearing you saw them on the near side means that people saw them too.
So that means little micrometeorites are actually hitting the moon, and they're actually able to see the light. And that's something that the lunar bases are going to have to deal with, and all the operations on the ground is there's no atmosphere to get in the way, so little things hitting the moon all the time.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's so energetic that when it hits the ground, not only does it disturb the ground, but it actually has light energy that they can see.
This is Artemis Mission Control. We have regained that signal, so the team here in Mission Control was able to call back up to the crew.
on board the Orion spacecraft as they continue their lunar flyby. Specifically, they are now in that eclipse period. So the science team here in Mission Control was able to ask some questions about some of the situational reports they were providing during that loss of signal. Specifically, they were interested in some of the meteors that they mentioned seeing and those impact flashes, and they did provide confirmation that they did see at least 4 impact flashes during that lost signal.
Are you still with us, Houston, or do we lose you?
Integrity, I hear you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
Okay, we got you loud and clear. One of the other things I wanted to describe, which was surprising to me, but the entire moon is lit up. It's glowing behind the entire moon. I thought it would look, dark against the black sky or deep space, but the sun is lighting up the entire limb of the moon. You can see the entire perimeter of it, and even now with the sun far behind the moon, you can still make out little bits of topography around the entire limb, just bumps as you go around it. And there's about the glow around the moon, once your eyes adjust, is easily 10 widths or diameters of the sun around the entire moon.
Wow.
I wish we could see it.
Incredible to hear, Jeremy. Were you able to actually pick out any discrete features on the lunar surface? And if so, how do they look different than when you observe them in solar illumination?
It hurt my eyes.
No, we really haven't been able to identify features on the lunar surface yet. We just see, the topography on the limb. For the Earth glow, we're about a quarter moon, waxing quarter moon, if you will, from the Earth glow perspective, and it's just at a very, just the sight angle. I'm just not able to tell what I'm looking at yet in the Earth glow.
Understood. Thanks, Jeremy. One other question for you on the solar corona. Were you actually able to see any structure or color in the corona before most of it disappeared behind the moon?
Yeah, I didn't pick out any color, but definitely structure. There were streamers, and they were not uniform at all. For me, the 5 o'clock position, there was just this constant streamer. It would change in intensity and diameter, but it was always there, and it was always at the 5 o'clock position.
That guy's having a good time.
What is that?
And it came out of basically the 3 o'clock position of the sun. That was very short-lived when I could see the plume.
Exactly what we were looking for. Thanks, Jeremy. And a heads up that we, calculated here on the ground about how long you could see the corona for, and we expect it to start to appear again in the next 11 minutes. Thanks for those amazing descriptions.
Okay. That basically means that the sun's starting to come back out from behind the moon. So the eclipse period ends at
26 minutes.
32. Yeah. So
according to their little clock, it says there's about 26 minutes left.
Oh, okay. See, I was trying to do it on my head. But yeah, I think that's pretty fascinating. It is kind of interesting. They haven't talked about any special equipment that they took with them for looking at the corona. So it looks like it's mostly visual and, your human eyes and what your interpretation is of that.
So a lot of people in the comments are asking, why are we not seeing this right now?
My guess is it's probably mostly dark, black, but I would like to see when they're discussing that there's a glow around the limb of the moon, approximately 10 diameters of the sun. To me, that almost sounds like when we see through the Earth's atmosphere and we see the thin amount around the limb of the Earth. I'd like to see if that's what it looks like with the moon. But I don't know why they're not showing us, other than the fact that it's maybe a guess is that the GoPros that they have on the exterior of the Orion that are kind of low resolution don't have the ability to do their exposure, so it just looks dark. That's my guess. But that's a guess. I may be totally wrong.
Just trying to see if there was any images yet from NASA. I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Know that they were trying to beam those down.
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple other sites, and everybody's showing the same thing you're showing. So that tells me that we're not getting anything, which is kind of a bummer. But I mean, it would be fascinating to see what they're seeing. He was talking about the topography. He could see some features, but not clearly. They're right now about 6,500 miles, 10,000 kilometers away from the moon. So that's still close enough that they should be able to see features. So I'm not sure if it's just the brightness of the sun or what.
While we're not seeing anything, I'm going to share this tab, and there's a video from NSF. Can you see it?
Yes.
And I'm going to share the video of a Raptor engine exploding on the test stand.
Yeah, this was just this afternoon at McGregor.
Let's see it. It's a coming. Look at all that.
It looks like it was a pretty long burn.
Yeah, that was all sped up, it looked like.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
There you go. That looked quite energetic to me.
Do you think it damaged the test stand?
Well, there's a pretty good fire, and it seems to go for a little while, but if it's the same or similar to what we saw with the released video of a Raptor firing, it looks like it's pretty well armored. So it probably got some shrapnel marks and burn marks, but I think it'll probably be okay. And it looks like most of the systems themselves were pretty well shielded. So we didn't see anything like from the systems liberating themselves.
Is that a big deal?
It's hard to say. I mean, every once in a while they do stuff intentionally for, to take it to failure. But this one almost looked like it was just doing long duration burn. So I don't know. I do know that they've been making and testing quite a few of the Raptor 3s, and these would all be what would be going on to the ships and boosters down at Starbase.
Yikes.
Interestingly enough, at least one of the engines that was on Booster 19 that was static fired down at Starbase was brought back up to McGregor for some testing. I don't know if it's this one or not, but it makes me wonder, why would they bring it all the way back to do testing after doing a very short static fire down at Starbase with it?
Jeez. I didn't even know that. Joe, you know everything.
I'm just a geek. What can I say?
You are. Okay, well, we're back to the visualization. I feel like they need to switch these titles, because now we're going to Earth and we're going further. So from moon, they need to switch them. It's a little confusing. Right. That's just what I think. But
what I don't know. I mean, they sort of say it a little bit, but some of the measures, the velocity and from Earth and everything is relative to the Earth, and then the to moon is relative to the moon. So it can be confusing if you don't realize that these are two different reference frames that they're talking about.
Well, so now what?
Well, either wait another 10, 20 minutes to find out what the solar eclipses look like, or maybe in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, we should be seeing them, the sun starting to come out from behind the moon. So maybe they'll have maybe the cameras will be good enough with their exposure to be able to show us something. And maybe we'll hear the crew talk a little bit. But after that, I'm almost thinking it would be almost time to start wrapping it up, because just a few minutes after that, the NASA coverage will come to a close. And
I agree.
The crew will probably do their end of day thing and get ready for their sleep cycle. And when they wake up, after all that's said and done, they will be considerably closer and a lot faster to the Earth.
Wow. That's crazy. Can't believe it's really happening.
This is something that a lot of people have been waiting for a very long time. Not just the people that weren't around for Apollo, but also the people that were around for Apollo.
Yeah.
And, I just wish that this was going on, say, in 1990. That would have been so much better, because it would only been about 20 years or so since the Apollo versus 2026.
Yeah. Did you ever think it would take this long?
No, I don't think anybody did. I wonder if you were to be able to interview any of the remaining Apollo astronauts and have a candid conversation and ask them for real, when you got back from the moon, did you think it was going to take 50 plus years? I think they would all say no.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of surprised that China's not there yet. I feel like their space program is like really, really ramping up.
It is. They're in a long-term plan that they are executing, and they're going through the various steps to make sure, I think, that they can be as successful as possible. And I think you have to give them credit for that. I mean, they are doing the work, and they have a goal, and they are working their way to that goal. At least initially, it seems like their goal and their sights are to kind of replicate what we did with Apollo. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying the infrastructure that they're bringing is more on the scale of what Apollo would be versus what we're hearing now with NASA and what we want to do with the Artemis program and with the large landers that we may have on our disposal, with whether it's Starship or something New Glenn can bring, or the whole Blue Origin, or a combination thereof. We're there to build something that's going to be for a long time and build the infrastructure for that. And I think that's a different goal than what China is trying to do right now. But they have a plan and they're executing on it, and I think you need to give them some degree of credit for that. Notwithstanding the whole competition thing, I just think from the standpoint of they had a goal and they're doing it.
I just feel like it's such a shame that we can't work together.
Yeah.
I know there's the Wolf Amendment, but like, will that ever be reversed? Will it ever?
I wonder if there's a certain function that is required in something completely new like this, where you have rivalry to help spur the making of it happening. I mean, way back centuries ago, when people were looking at leaving Europe and coming across the Atlantic, whatever, there was competition for that too. It was national competition. And then there was national competition for trade on the high seas and controlling the seas and everything. So there's always been some degree of a competition. And our first space program was a competition with the Soviet Union. Maybe this idea of a space competition with China, even though that's not ideal, maybe that is playing a role to help push us through the challenges to even make it happen. But I think also having a viable lunar economy that's on the commercial side, that can be self-sustaining and give us a reason that's identifiable and bona fide of why we're doing something. Like, we have a new widget that we can only make on the moon and everybody wants it on Earth. I think that would be very helpful as well. And I'm hoping all the stuff that we're putting into place will spawn that kind of industry.
Yeah. I'm so confused on the whole China thing, because it's like, on the one hand, we have this Wolf Amendment and we're not allowed to cooperate in space, and we're all worried about who's going to go to the moon first, and they're the enemy. And then it's like, but we have so many products that are made in China and we rely on China for cheap things. And so it's like, we cooperate there and like, we don't give that up and we're supporting them there, but then they're the enemy on the other. I don't know. Am I the only one who thinks it's kind of weird?
Well, I mean, we are human. We're all weird. We're never always logical, and choices that we make, one defeats the other one and all that. But I think right now it's all about, it really is about the ultimate high ground and controlling the high ground. And that's what is behind all of this. And if you're the one that's in control, then you can dictate what you want and benefit from it. And if you're not, then you have to work with somebody else. And I think that's fundamentally what is the basis of all of this. I'm not saying that that's right or not. I just think that's what is happening.
Yeah.
And our history tells us that that's what's happened. And, we often talk about if we go to Mars and have a new colony, what will be the government and what will it be like? And it'll be totally different than Earth. Well, I think that one of the things we import is our humanity and all of our failures and faults that go along with it. And I think the stuff that we do on Earth will follow us to the moon, Mars, or wherever else.
Yikes. I don't think we want all this stuff to follow us.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be more rational and we'll understand that we have to work together. I mean, there's going to be a large part of that, whether we like it or not, for the foreseeable future, that we all have to work together because we're in a pretty harsh, unforgiving environment, whether it's space, moon, or Mars. And, fighting over who gets the water rights if neither one of us get it, we don't survive is kind of silly.
Now, are we going to see any more views here or no? Is it just going to be this visualization for the next 20 minutes?
I think I see on another screen, hopefully it'll pop up here soon. There is actually a view of the lunar limb with some of the sun peeking out from behind. It's kind of a glow. And I'm hoping, I don't know if your screen is on live or not. I've been noticing that it trails a little bit some of the other ones, but I'm seeing on a different screen a really nice kind of a glow coming out from behind the back of the moon.
I mean, this says live.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
Do I need to pull up a different stream?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, but you can clearly start seeing, it looks like there's just a small sliver of the lunar limb, but it's all in black, and you just see the arc of the edge of the moon, and you can see this kind of a glow peeking out from behind the back, similar to what Jeremy was kind of describing.
I think Bad Worm is trying to call me out. He says, I think Alien Space is ready for bed.
Probably.
I'm not ready for bed. I've been going to bed at like 4 a.m. every single day for the past, I don't know, 2 weeks. So, but I am ready to take a shower and, we've been live a lot today, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's been a historic day, a big day for anybody that's been interested in space. And the fact that we can now say that the last time humans were at the moon was in April of 2026, not even a couple of days, not even a day. So we've reset that clock. Now we need to do all the process to get people on the moon, the surface.
Yes.
And my hope, my biggest hope is that we do that and Buzz Aldrin, or if not him, at least maybe Charlie Duke, somebody that was on the moon is able to pass the torch to the new generation while they're on the moon. Our opportunities for that are getting very few and far between. And I do hope, and I think that would be great for the programs.
I think Charlie Duke will be around. I mean, I took that 0G flight with him, and he's
only 90.
He's kicking, dude. He's kicking. He seems like a healthy guy.
All right. Well, maybe he'll be on the mission and go back.
You're gonna put him on the mission? No, I don't know if that would be fair. I think we need to get some people. I mean, that's such a crazy opportunity.
On that screen that they just had on the screen on the wall, you could see the other image I'm seeing. But now they've moved away and they're showing everybody else seeing the same thing I'm seeing on a different screen going, isn't that beautiful? Yes, it is. Why can't Ellie see it?
Well, is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. I was going to say, is it that good? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think some of that is banding from the camera itself, but it is almost like a little bit of color popping out as well.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And I can't remember if we'll see a moon Earth picture or if that already happened on this side of the moon.
Now, are we going to be doing, I will say, just as we're wrapping up here, I am attempting to get details on the post splashdown conference, which should probably be in Houston. And, I'm in Austin, so I don't mind driving there, but I'm trying to like get into the room so I can be one of the reporters. But in the meantime, do you think that we're going to have another really memorable live stream before they splash down April 10th, Friday? Not so much, right? Because they're just kind of,
they have some milestones, but it's essentially going to be testing things out and then watching the Earth getting bigger and bigger. The big thing is going to be probably in a couple of hours before they actually re-enter. And then when they re-enter, we're going to have periods of blackout again. And that's going to be where, the highest period of uncertainty, because there's the question of, how is the Orion capsule doing? How is the heat shield doing? Are they on course? Is the new re-entry profile working well? So that'll be pretty interesting, and I think it'll capture a lot of people's attention. And then, of course, seeing it splash down, and then the recovery.
And just to answer this question, they're expected to splash down off the Pacific coast at approximately 5:07 p.m. Pacific time, so 8:07 Eastern time. The crew will be recovered by the U.S. Navy and returned to shore following their 10-day mission, and they'll be splashing down near San Diego, California.
Correct. So, and there's really very little wiggle room as far as the date and time for that. They're on a return back, and that's what's going to happen. So there's no changing their mind.
Are you sure? Are they actually still on board Orion? I'm just kidding.
They might have gotten off and they're hanging out on the moon. They don't want to come home.
We're making that joke because earlier in the live stream, NASA said a funny thing. What exactly did she say?
She goes, we're back here doing our coverage and the crew is still on board the Orion or something like that. Like, I hope they are. Where else would they be?
Hey, we don't know what happened during those 40 minutes. They might have been body swapped by some UFOs or something.
They could have been.
It might not be them, Maybe they have shape-shifting abilities and they can look exactly like Victor Glover.
Exactly.
We'd never know. It's like, I kind of felt like that because, they put you in general anesthesia when I obviously got my femur surgery. And I was like, what if I'm different? What happened in there? I wasn't conscious. I don't know.
They did body part swaps.
What the hell happened? And I asked my
leg.
Yeah, I was like, did you film it? Because I really wanted to see the surgery. I genuinely did. And he said no. So
I think it's funny. You were talking about trying to interview your doctor and it was like a hostage video.
Oh God, no, it was not going to happen. His armpits were sweating just talking to me. Not even with the idea of it being an interview. I was like, dude, you're a great surgeon, but I don't think you like to talk. So that's,
Can you tell me about the surgery? What was really the most interesting part?
Yeah.
I cut your leg open. And I put a rod in it.
How was my leg compared to the other legs?
It was the one on your body.
Yeah, I told him before I had my surgery, I talked to him very briefly. I met my surgeon, and the only thing he said to me is, my daughter's name is Eliana. And I was like, wow, that's really random, but hopefully she's on your good side today because did she not do her homework or something?
Exactly.
No. He did an amazing job. I think it's so crazy.
Well, it is amazing. You're basically at 100% as if it never happened.
Yeah.
And
well, thank goodness.
Go back 50, 60 years and you would have probably been, maimed for life. I mean, not be able to walk very well at all, certainly using some supports.
Well, so and it's cool too, because Haley Arsenault, who is on Inspiration 4, also has a femur rod. So
I think you're ready for space.
Yeah, I'm ready. Take me. Sure. Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you say, Joe? It's been over 2 hours. Should we end the moon bay?
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on. This has been a historic day. And I, as you know, I enjoy talking about this, and I hope that to your viewers, it was somewhat helpful. I was hoping we'd get a lot more questions about whatever, but I hope that what we talked about was good. And I'm just thrilled to be able to say now that it's not been 53 years since we've been back to the moon. Of course, now we want to get on the moon, but that's coming.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was super cool to see. And I appreciate all of your explanations. And, you're like talking to AI about space in real time. You just rattle it off. I think that the visualizations people really did enjoy. So, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for hanging out. And again, to everyone, sorry that we didn't cover Artemis 2 live in person. I'm actually a little shocked by it too, but we sort of didn't think it was going to actually go on time.
We took one for the team, and because we weren't there, it went on time.
Exactly. There is that superstition, but we'd have to have a parallel universe, and we would have to go, and we would have to see that it would have been scrubbed if we were there. But we didn't go for Flight 5, and that's when, of course, it was apparently the most perfect launch of Starship. Exactly. That's what people tell me. They're like, "Oh, that one was by far the best." Oh, stop rubbing it in.
No. When they do the catch of the ship, I'm definitely going to be there, and it is going to be shocking.
Yes.
I talked a lot about the illustration and the animation of it coming back, and its path and its where it's going to come over South Padre Island and how it's going to be caught is going to be something to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, when is that going to be? Is that even going to be this year?
Well, if Flight 12 goes well, they might try it on 13. They might roll the dice. You never know.
Do you think that they would try to catch the ship that soon?
Hey, it's SpaceX. Go for it.
Go for it.
We'll see. A lot has to happen between now and then, but it'll be something to watch.
Aye. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching again. Thank you for all the super chats and the comments and the compliments. We are happy to entertain, and now it's time to wrap it on up. But thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. I'm going to try to make it to the press conference in person after the splashdown. We'll see if I can ask a question. I'll do my best. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your week. Oh, what is this?
That's the sun. It's now completely out from the sun.
We're going 30 degrees out from it, and now it is just extremely bright.
You have your glasses on.
It's the sun. It's supposed to be bright.
It's bright? No way. No way.
And we copied all. We wanted to remind you at this point on the eclipse glasses. Should be about time for those.
Hopefully they have them on already.
I was going to say, put them on. Ay.
The bad news is that all 4 astronauts are blind.
Wearing eclipse glasses. It was an absolutely spectacular, magnificent experience.
Wow.
Thanks for the report. We sure wish we were there with you.
Can you imagine just, how you can just flex on this one? Where did you see the last solar eclipse? On the other side of the moon?
Yeah, for like 53 minutes versus 3 minutes. Jeez. Right. Wow. They're lucky. I'm a little jealous. Well, all right. We're going to end the stream here. I think NASA's going to wrap up in like 15 minutes. So if y'all want to finish up with them, but thank you for watching. Thanks for the compliments, and we'll be back again soon enough.